Hello, my name is Creostix, and welcome back to Observer. And if this looks a tiny bit different but still similar than before, that's because uh, the video recording something just borked real hard there, and I lost about 4-ish minutes of progress. So to catch everyone up, I snuck past the the monster thing, and then I reached a room with like a big computer, and then the monster thing behind a glass punched what I believe is to be maybe Danielle's mom into the glass, and Danielle's mom yelled, "Run, Dan!" And then I ran, and I ran into this crawl space in which I just recently took away a bunch of electrical wires from here to go forward. Like I just pulled them from the sockets. That's all you've missed, as in nothing. I pressed the computer button, and then the hunter killer thing did its thing behind the glass. I didn't die again, which is good, but essentially I just ranted on a bit again about how the stealth section isn't a good thing. But I have to point out though that the moment when I ran away, I'm not sure if I could have died there, but at least a running away mechanic is better than an insta-kill stealth monster. Even if if it is the same monster, because at least then it's not as easy to fail, and it's not quite as aggravating if nothing else. You should still maybe avoid the game over screen to begin with if you're doing a game like this, but still, that's at least better than stealth. But indeed, the last part was the worst part, and indeed, the part where I died was the final stealth part of that sort of series of sections. So let's go to a corridor and then you're good. That was what that was. But now I'm actually a little disoriented here on where did I come from again. Well, it gave me a save screen, so that's good, or an autosave icon in the lower corner there. And indeed, I still can't use my vision overlays, which leads me to believe that I am in the whatchamacallit, the VR pod still, which I in which I met Adam. That's just my guess, but you know. Okay, and I turn around and something bad happens. Yep. Or not. Why is my vision blurry when I go there? That's weird. Okay, go back and something's different, right? Not visibly, at least immediately, but let's just, it's gonna be something. Do 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 do. Do we get cotton candy, or what's the deal now? Also, the camera does this weird like bobbing back and forth when I move like so. It's kind of like weird that it sort of does that. It's a little like, huh? Why? So I came through here. Do I go back? I coming through something is a very relative thing, because I think this area is changing a bit on me, but we'll see. We'll see. So is this now more... Can I go here? No. Oh, clever. Okay. And again, find the one hotspot which you can do things. Oh, hello! Snake thing, flesh, whatever. Or intestine, not sure. Do 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 do. So indeed, I think our plan was to manually override a thing, the source of it all and all that, the lockdown and whatever. Oh, we have some vegetation, which can only mean we're not in the real world. I feel very confident in saying that again. Do I move this too? Yeah. Do 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 do. I gotta say, this crawling around in these base is a little dragging on, maybe, but... Ah, some live wires. Good, great. And yeah, the electricity is turning more and more into you know, intestines and other biological stuff. I get it. Yep. And what now? Is that like a choice of left or right, or I don't quite... I can go here if I want to. Well, there's a figure in the door, which I... Oh, not. It's the door. Crap. I thought it looked like a person in a robe or something, but okay. The world is exploding on me. Can we go forward, please? Apparently no. But again, as I mentioned before...
There must have been a misunderstanding. I was told you decided not to undergo the augmentation procedure.
Yes.
Just to be clear, you do realize that drastically decreases your chances of recovery?
I made my decision. Thank you.
Honey, I'm proud of you. You can do this. I know you can. I'll be there for you.
Right. So the wife had a procedure to something. Right. I recognize the red rose from the pigeon cage.
You owe me this much. Promise me you'll take care of him. Whatever it takes.
Well, I'm apparently going crazy in taking care of him, so...
Your mom argued after you left. Mom was very sad. I asked her what was wrong, and she said the doctors could cure her, but she wasn't sure if she wanted them to.
It's not that simple. What the doctors wanted to do, there was a heavy price to be paid. She wouldn't be herself. She wouldn't be your mom anymore.
Okay.
That's not what I'm asking. I want to know, did Mom decide for herself? Did she really want this?
Of course she did. Your mother believed she was strong enough to beat this thing on her own. I did too.
Okay.
But she wasn't. I just wanted her to be alright. Why didn't you save her?
Again, yeah, I think we've been mentioned a number of times that there's some sort of thing was wrong
Should have been you.
with dear wife. Right. Can't move yet, at least. A person sinking in a vat of
Jesus,
something
there's barely
and
anything
red.
left of him. Can he hear us?
Yes, but he's very weak. Please make this brief.
Dad, it's pretty bad. They need to replace a few parts.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Whoa, easy there. Listen, it's either this or spend the rest of your life in a fucking jar.
no.
Think of your kid. Who's gonna take care of it? What is it, Dad?
Whatever it takes.
30 cc's of cortisone stat. I need any non-medical staff added.
Hang in there, buddy. They're gonna fix you up real good.
I'm sure they did, yes. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, I suppose it was kind of a given thing that at some point, something happened to Dan to have him have all this cyborg stuff in him, you know?
You're such a fucking hypocrite and you don't even see it.
I thought I was right. Didn't know any better.
You stood on principle when it was her life on the line. But when it comes to saving yourself, you're pragmatic all of a sudden?
I had to take care of you. I made a promise to her.
No! You don't get to use her as an excuse. Not after what happened.
What did you want me to do? Give up?
That's what you made her do. Every time I look at you, I see this monster that killed my mom.
Yep, that figures. That it's a reflection of his own, you know... A reflection of apparently...
I finally understand.
Yeah, so I am the insta-kill stealth monster. Yes, that's... Checks out, sure. Okay. Yeah, so... Oh. Frame rate went again, but here we are. Yeah, I figured that was it was a manifestation of someone's something. It was just unclear at first that was it like mine or Adam's or one of the victims or what was the deal with that. But yeah, okay. Lovely singing, yes. It really brings out the eyes in the floating head with the tentacles in front of me. Or actually it doesn't. What? Yeah. Anyhow, so what's the deal? Do we have a talk? Hello, Adam.
Adam. What the hell is this?
The core. You made your way here. Now let me in.
Let you in? What about the lockdown? The virus?
The virus will get to me no matter what. Here, or out in the web. It's only a matter of time.
You
Okay.
need a place to hide.
I need a host. A unique specimen. Detached from the web at large.
Okay.
The lockdown was just an excuse to get me in. Why lie?
What else could I do? They had you so looped in your repressed memories, I had to break you out somehow. Now that you're finally free, we can beat this thing.
Okay.
A host? I guess that's supposed to be me.
Yes. An observer's mind is isolated, detached from the grid. It's the only place where I can hide. Fortress that the virus won't be able to penetrate.
Let's say I let you in. Then what?
Oh, it's amazing. Our minds will merge.
Merge?
Yeah. It might sound weird, but our minds kind of hook up. We plug into each other.
Sorry, you lost me.
You are losing it. Your sanity's hanging by a thread, Dad. But I can help you regain control of your senses. We can help each other.
Okay, before I say anything else, that sounds very strange because as a specimen detached from the grid, from the web, and isolated, even though not an hour-ish ago, less than that, Adam said, and I quote, like well, not an exact quote, but something like, they're still controlling you, and there's like, the more you resist, the more they're gonna go into your mind and thoughts and such. How is that detached from the web and isolated? I mean, could Adam have lied about that too? I don't know, because I am a corporate tool. That doesn't make any sense. How am I now all of a sudden isolated from the web? No. Sure. No other way?
There must be another way.
There isn't. It's up to you. Save us both? Or leave me to die and go on with this fever dream of existence. Either way, since tonight, I'm growing weaker by the second. Soon, I won't be able to maintain a connection.
Okay. Yay, a power socket! Do I take it in my mouth? Oh, right, with that. That sounds lovely.
You've done well. You've taken your first steps towards embracing your true nature, towards becoming who you really are. But there's still more to do. Apartment 104. Make it quick.
So Adam directed the
You
killer? Yeah.
killed yourself.
An iteration of myself.
Iteration? Then what are you?
I am Adam,
Which one?
the only one left.
Killed him. The real Adam.
The real Adam. He killed dozens. Iteration after iteration, laid to waste in pursuit of his grand design. Why should one more make a difference?
You're fucking unreal. He was my son.
I am your son. So what if he had the real body? You're clinging to a version of me that hated you. As if that was all that made him. Me. Your son.
The splicer was breathing down my neck. You sent him. Appreciate it.
He was never supposed to go after you. But the drugs and the paranoia took over. After that, well, he went full on feral.
The mind is not a toy.
Ironic, coming from an observer.
Why? Why did you kill him?
Much like
I
in
had no
Soma.
choice. Kill or be killed.
The
Oh.
virus. Adam set it loose. You figured out how dangerous you are.
Maybe. And maybe he realized he had succeeded. He created the superior version of himself, and it terrified him.
So what the hell makes you better?
He was driven by hatred, obsessed with the idea of not becoming you. He never came to understand. But I did.
I'm sure.
Just help me out a bit. You're losing me.
We're all freaks of nurture, Dad. Your choices, your mistakes, they were all unavoidable. You can't blame us for what we are.
Why did the others have to die?
I couldn't let any word of this reach Chiron. They would stop at nothing to track me down.
Way to cover your ass.
Think of me what you will. But you know the corporation. They would claim this gift for themselves. I want to share it with the world. I regret what I had to do, but it was necessary evil.
I'm tired. Let's get this over with.
Very well. If you think you're ready to make your choice. Will you let your son die? Or will you save me?
Okay. Okay, now we have a choice then, but this is where a lot of the problems of my like a lot of my problems with the game sort of culminate in this as well, because I care a lot less than I probably should. Let's just try to just work out what are we doing here. So like, what do both of the choices like actually mean when you really break it down and think about it? So rejecting Adam would mean that the AI Adam would die, and it's a sort of an enhanced copy of Adam's consciousness in a way, like a transcendent version of him in the interwebs. and I would then like be a part of him. We would be like two parts of a whole. I can't know for sure if he will help me regain my senses and all that stuff, but and he did mention that he would have that he would share this transcendence idea with the world, but I'm not sure how exactly that is true freedom, because you're still in the interwebs essentially, like as far as I understand. But if I don't do anything now, if I reject Adam, like, okay, like, for myself, the changes will be essentially either live on like this and probably die of psychosis in about 15 minutes, because that's just, this existence is just so what that we know. But in the big picture, the society will not change, and I've seen enough misery to know that in its current form, the society, at least in this game that the game has shown me, is not exactly a pleasant one. You know, repo men take your organs, and you live in just a real just run-down places of whatever, where nothing works, and it's a misery and all that. If I embrace him, there's the chance, at least, that things might change in the sort of a big picture way. I can't know how, because so far it seems I can't really trust the Adam here. It's sort of like anything he says I can't take at face value, because he's lied to me already multiple times. But it does seem that at least it would change things in some way, both for me and for the society. Either people will get something good, even in the best case scenario, of this, or maybe Chiron will get a different competitor in us in some way. In both ways, from what I can gather here, for both for me and for the world, a change in almost any direction is better. And that's sort of the way I'm approaching this. Rejecting Adam is retain status quo and keep me completely just essentially as a cyber vegetable, because I'm crazy as a hat maker here. So I feel like there's no way for me to know what these mean in the long term. They might both be bad for all I know, but I feel any change for both me and the world is better than doing nothing. That's pretty much where I gotta go here.
I can't believe there isn't a part of Adam left. He is part of you. That's true. I won't let you die. I make my promise, and I intend to keep my word.
Thank you, Father.
Oh, you're gonna do bad things, I know it, but what you gonna do? It didn't crash on me, did it?
Thank you.
There. This is what was supposed to happen. I had to sit through the entire conversation again. At least I could... Lockdown, yes.
I know, Janice. It's been taken care of.
Called your people. Should be here in a minute.
Great.
Thank you. I'll take over from here. You can get back to your post.
Okay. Right, so I can't actually control myself. That makes sense. I was sort of expecting a bad turn to this, but oh well.
You good? Huh?
Yeah. Just a slight glitch. She'll take care of it.
Little ones. Worst. Always spell trouble.
Don't I know it?
Right. But is this the bad or
The sun
good?
will come up soon. We'll get to see it together again. No
Yay!
worries. We'll get used to this. We have all the time in the world.
If you say so. Do we now get this? This is the end credits time. Okay, and my achievements were on again. Oops. Okay, well. So then, and we have some music going on. Might as well turn that down a bit. So, okay. Yeah. As I've mentioned before, this wasn't exactly... I haven't had a lot of fun here. It's interesting. It's not all bad. But where this starts going, like, okay, they had a... The visual concepts are cool and interesting. And there's a really cool idea in being like a detective that jumps into people's minds. And with the crime scene sort of investigatory things with the overlay vision stuff and that stuff. There's a solid foundation in there to do something cool. So the things I didn't like about this then, where it sort of point by point started to going like off for me, was first, I don't like having my vision constantly like interfered with. I don't mean the scanning overlays. That's fine, but the aberration in the vision, the small glitches that keep it both glitchy and blurry, and it keeps on getting worse until unless you take the synchrosine pills, which I don't feel you really need to have the synchrosine pills at all. Just have the vision be sharp and just be done with it. It's to me not pleasant to look at. It's straining on the eyes, and it just like makes it more straining than it needs to be. So that's one. And then we get to the fact that they have insta-kill stealth sections, which is just the wrong way to do a horror game like this, at least to my mind. If you love everything about this game, that's fine, that's great. That's perfectly okay. Like I don't expect like people to agree with me. I'm just like stating what I feel is my opinion here. So that's the point. So if you like this game, that's good. That's great. People need things that they like. That's fine. I didn't. Yeah, the insta-kill sections were terrible. And then you have all of the mind jumpings have just... They're a visual cacophony of everything constantly in your face at 900 miles an hour, and you don't know if it's Daniel's stuff, or if it's the victim's stuff, or it's maybe even someone else's stuff, or is it like does it like tie into anything really? It just constantly is cool visuals for the sake of being cool visuals, barraging at you at every turn, fast and fast and fast in there, with loud noises everywhere, like the game just screams in your face. And I think the shortest one of those took 27 minutes. That's too long. That's exhausting to sit through. I lost the ability to process any of that in the first 4 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's just stuff. I don't care anymore. Whatever. Let's just move on then. And also, when you gotta remember that at this point you already have a world that feels strange and alien and odd when it's in the real world. The AR things on the wall. It's 2084. Everything is weird to begin with, and then you don't really have a good reference point on what's even more weird and less weird, and it starts off from weird. So when it goes to even more weird in the mind jumps and the real world, it's less impactful because you don't have a sort of a familiar reference point to sort of anchor yourself into, which would be normal, if you will. It's abnormal to begin with, so it's sort of, it doesn't like sink me in to react to the really weird stuff as well as it could. So there's that, and indeed, I can appreciate like having random like weird stuff coming at me. That can be fine, but in that, then you need to really just, they need to be shorter. They need to be like 10 minutes tops, and don't have the puzzles in them. Those were dumb. Those were like, why do we even have these here? Like these, let's take this floating crying TV and plug it into things and do a puzzle where you can always take it with. That just like, it didn't really bring anything to the game for me, especially when you're again constantly being interfered with by both darkness and the visual glitches of everything in your face. It's exhausting to look at and go through. And also, so many times, the only reason I couldn't go forward for a few minutes was I needed to find the one hotspot, which happens to be a hotspot you can then, push. That's like, ugh. It happened so many times it interfered with the pacing. That's not really a good way to do that either. Voice acting wasn't really good either. It didn't sell me at any point. Like, good on Rutger for doing the thing here, but the voice acting was to me just bad. And also on the console, it constantly has frame rate issues. That's not good. It like constantly freezes up the frame rate a bit and then just goes forward. It's jarring, and it also crashed on me on the very end thing for once. Like, oh god. Yeah. And when you have all that cacophony of random just screaming at you for all those long periods of time, so you no longer care. It's just, you don't care about the world either, or the story, or the characters, or what's going on. And also the choice there was a little like, yeah, you're given a choice on something you don't really have any way of knowing like what that means. Like, not really. Like, what's the end result after we've done this? Who knows? Let's just watch the credits. Like, I'm not sure. It's more interesting if you really need to think about a moral thing of what's right and wrong. Here's like, choose ending A or B. You don't really know what that like ends up being. Okay. And yeah. So how to improve this? Remove the insta-kill stealth completely. Do not have game over screens at all. Reduce the length of the mind-jumping things to 10 minutes tops with no puzzles. You can have weird stuff, but don't do puzzles in them. That was just like, oh, come now. Make the hotspot thing a lot more clear. Like, go press this one thing, because that was just dragging me a lot. What else? Lose all of the visual interference. You need. I want to see what I see. That's just come now. You can have the overlays, but not the visual interference, and also remove the synchrosine. You have visually cool things, but it ends up being like a combination of superficial crazy for the sake of being crazy, insta-kill stealth sections, and just, it's so weird that it almost doesn't pay. It doesn't pay to wonder what the story beats even mean almost, because it's almost like, well, I don't know if this is real anyway, so whatever. Like, you don't know if the world is real. You don't know if your character is actually thinking what he's thinking or seeing what he's seeing. If he's crazy. So if something happens, you have no idea if it has stakes or not, because it can be either the craziness or the unreal world or just whatever else, because reasons. So it's like, okay, I saw a thing. When do I see the next thing? Sure. So yeah, didn't grab me for all those reasons. But we got it done. That's good. So indeed, I do hope you've still enjoyed my run through of this. And if you disagree with me, that's okay. That people need to like everyone likes different things. That's fine. That's okay. That's cool. And with that though, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again next time. But if you have enjoyed this, please do drop a like or a comment, or even subscribe or share if you want to. It would really, really help. And indeed, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you again next time in the next game.